Remember the 5th of November, Raymond Koh and Amri Che Mat. I can think of no reason why the fact they were taken should ever be forgot. So poops, those of you who like V for Vendetta probably know that 5th of November is Guy Fawkes Day. A day that people now just remember as what it means to stand against repression, and well, in Malaysia, the equivalent of that just happened. Because on the same day, by the same judge, two massive enforced disappearance cases were judged and astronomical damages were awarded, totaling about 3 million ringgit for Amri Che Mat and about 37 million for Pastor Raymond Koh's family, both given out by Judge Su Tiang Joo. Now, if you think that's an absurd amount of money, you're absolutely right. And in fact, the Raymond Koh one is interesting because not only did the judge award 4 million ringgit in general damages and 250k in costs, but literally also 10,000 ringgit per day ever since February 13, 2017 until he's found, which is, if you think about it, like actually insane. Some people say it's better than winning the Toto. It was really a big slap in the face of the state. Although, given everything that happened, I don't think the family is really thinking much about that. It's very clear whenever you read the reports, whenever you watch the family members, no amount of money can bring their father and husband back. We're not seeing prosecutions for the people who made this happen. And also, the government is probably going to appeal.
Whoops, nope, they're very obviously appealing it.
But still though, I think that we should all remember the 5th of November, because at the end of the day, if you go down to the principle of it, these people fought for long donkey years and finally, they won.
And here's a recap of why their families had to fight.
The people whose families received the judgment,
they were, or are, if they're miraculously still alive,
Pastor Raymond Koh, a Christian pastor who started the charity Harapan Community, and Amri Che Mat, a Shia Muslim activist. Pastor Raymond, Amri Che Mat were basically abducted in broad daylight, disappeared, kalas, click.
The motivation is interesting though.
The context in Malaysia is that generally and absolutely evangelism to people who happen to be Muslim is illegal, and this means, by the way, that you cannot spread Christianity to Muslim people. But it's not just that though, because in this country, if you happen to be Shia and you spread your faith, that's not allowed either. If you happen to be a religious person and you start a charity, that's a sort of grey area, right? Because like, if people were to look at it another way, they could possibly suspect you of evangelizing, trying to hashtag change the status quo. Are you breaking the law if somebody listens to what you share because they themselves wanted to learn about what you believe in? I don't think that's actually a good way to deal with that, and
apparently, though enforced disappearance is not justifiable, they crossed the boundary.
Really not sure what was going through the minds of the people who ordered this, if it really had anything to do with religion, or if those people actually even cared about religion. It was actually all back in the 2016-17 period, back when the whole 1MDB, Jolo, web of different things was all coming into place. BN was trying to remain in power. It was complicated. And years after years of legal action, civil society action, petitions, candlelight vigils, and finally we're here. Remember the 5th of November. This country is finally saying, you know what, maybe that's not okay. We're just like, good job, like baby steps. And I say baby steps because obviously we're not going out and actually punishing the people who may or may not have been involved. And still you have the case of Pamela Ling. Nobody actually knows where she is at the moment. And it's basically just another case that shows that this kind of thing still happens, you know? I mean, I'm not going to go into the whole long context, since there's a whole long interweaving web probably best shared by the families of Pastor Raymond, Amri Che Mat, and also Suhakam, which brought about the initial inquiries that led into an investigation into their cases, as well as the case of Joshua, Hilmy, and Ruth Sitepu, which so far no court cases have actually appeared for. But basically, if you read the Suhakam public inquiry reports, which I'm linking right here, you'll learn everything that you need to know about this. End of the day, I think that this victory really is a bittersweet victory. Cause it's like, yes, the courts say you were treated unfairly, this is not okay, they award you a ton of money, but I think it's really sad that we still have this culture where forever over your head you've got this idea that maybe one day you'll be the victim of impunity as well. I've had no problems with the PDRM. I mean, many of you literally follow this channel, but even I have this sense that forcible disappearance is a possibility. And sure, people can create campaigns, have candlelight vigils, pray for you, sue the government for every penny they've got, but I think that's a small comfort, cause if stuff like this keeps happening, it just shows a very sad picture of what the country actually is and what people can believe it to be. And I think nobody said it better than Pastor Raymond's daughter Elizabeth, so watch this.
Yeah, I just think about what my dad would want us to do and what we want to see Malaysia become is something more important. And I mean, as like I'm 22 this year, so like all my friends are like, come, let's just not live in Malaysia anymore. Like, let's go live somewhere else where it's safer, where you don't have to suffer. It really makes me sad to think that these things can happen in my country, and I want to be proud to say that I'm Malaysian. And
Yep. So poops, each of us looks at the flag and asks, this is my country. Can I look at it and can I really be proud of it? The beautiful but maybe tragic thing is that a lot of people,
Despite the horrible failures hosted under our flag,
will still look at this flag and say, yes, I love my country, I love my home, I love where I came from. No matter where I go, no matter where I live, I will always, ever and forever be an anak Malaysia. But let me be completely clear in saying this, I really don't know whether Malaysia is going to survive. Like, whether in our lifetime, we can look through the broken glass shards, see through the brokenness of this country, and the candlelit ghosts of the past, something that we can actually be proud of. At the end of the day, you watch this video not just because you found this interesting, but also because there's a small part of you that wants to do something, that wants to change things, but maybe you don't know what or how. And a lot of people are moving away
only because
they know or they feel that a single person cannot make a difference. But I can confirm for you that everyone who just watched that, who reflected on all the years that come and gone, cried over it, went to vigils for it,
has a small and meaningful role in everything, whether you live in Malaysia or not.
the fact that you're watching this video right now suggests that you want to make a difference. It doesn't matter whether people are angry, coming up with harsh comments, gelating the government or mocking the government. You could be a random person living in Malaysia, a student, worker, CEO, employee, government official, PDRM, SKMM_MCMC, or any number of other possibilities. At the end of the day, I don't think that you can look me straight in the eye and tell me that what Judge Su did is not meaningful, that he didn't move us forward, that he didn't strike a blow against people who would prefer to have us cowed, coddled, silent. As we look back on the judgment and all the challenges to come, I think it's good to remember the 5th of November. With that in mind, to whoever was involved in the disappearance of Raymond, Amri, Joshua, and Ruth, whether you were following orders, whether you thought it was necessary, what happened was a tragedy, not only for the families involved, but I think that you can see for the entire country. Which means, at the end of the day, it's also a tragedy for you as well. Because something like this doesn't disappear, it doesn't stay buried. I don't know about your conscience, that might be there, that might not be, but for what it's worth, it also affects the agency that you swore to protect. So I've had great relationships with our PDRM, at least personally, and I want Malaysia's police force, beyond prime ministers, beyond personalities, to remain a credible force. People have 100 different opinions about the police, but I don't think you want them to think of either corruption or Raymond Koh every single time they think about the police, because that's not how it's supposed to be. I think you and I can already see, and very clearly too, that getting rid of one guy didn't solve the problem. And frankly, I don't even know what kind of problem you were trying to solve or whether it accomplished anything. I mean, was it political? We had a change of government. Was it religious? I don't think any religion condones enforced disappearance. Was it supposed to make people lose faith? I mean, you basically made him into a venerated figure. I don't want to say messiah, but I'm pretty sure if you disappear anyone or try to harm anyone just because of their beliefs, that is what they're going to become in people's eyes. You and I both know that Malaysia is changing, and this country is not going to stay still just cause you expect it to. Every action has a consequence, has a consequence, has a consequence, in an infinite number of multiverses that spread out whenever you do something. These disappearances, they've happened enough, and I think you saw from Elizabeth hints of what could happen. And if you're not careful, and a major incident like this happens again, I don't know if we're gonna have a Malaysia in the future. So I say this to you with sincerity, life is short, bro. I mean, if you don't believe in God, then that's fine with me, but as far as I know, this was explicitly linked to religious motives. I encourage you to tepuk dada tanya iman for a quick bit, and I think that if you have a religion, then you know that there's such a thing as sin and reward, paradise and punishment. There's a very high chance that you're gonna ignore this, and you might say, you know, if I sold my soul to the devil, I can't buy it back. If you come out there, you confess, it might break your family apart, it probably will actually, but maybe this message is the message that God designed for you to hear in this time, in this season, to remind you even years from now, and when you lie on your deathbed, that you could have done the right thing before you died. The second best time to have done the right thing was before any of this started. The worst is when there's no chance of redemption, and the second best time is now. History shows that countries rise when institutions act with honor, and they fall when people no longer trust those institutions. And the sad thing is that Malaysia's gone down this road for so long. We complain about the ringgit every day, yet the problems are staring us straight in the face. And what they add up to is that people just generally don't trust this country. And if really, at the end of the day, you believe that what you did for the country, then do what's good for the country again. Help us close these wounds, stop our country's fear about enforced disappearance, and instead of creating more martyrs and messiahs, if you truly love Malaysia, and help us build a Malaysia where nobody, no family, no community in Malaysia is ever put in that situation ever again. Because we can't undo what happened, but we do have agency. We can decide how this flag will be remembered, and that choice, lady and gentlemen, belongs to every single Malaysian, and it belongs to you. And even as you watch this video, whoever you are, whatever you're doing, the judgment planted a seed. We don't know what that seed is gonna grow into, but well, whatever it is, maybe it's time to water the plant. Don't let yourself just think that you'll forever, perpetually be a victim of oppression, or let that live rent-free in your head. Cause at the end of the day, you can't avoid the fact that if you really wanted to, in your own way, you too can make a difference. I can't say what your path is going to be, but I hope that you're gonna fight against injustice when it comes along, and you'll get to where you want to go. And making this video was my attempt at trying to do so. God bless you all, whatever God you believe in, or even if you don't believe in a God at all. And congratulations to all of you out there in Malaysia who think that this was a win for justice. That's all to say about that, and bye.